I tried so hard.
Into French, Vietnamese, and English. This student is getting very interesting now. So suddenly I'm seeing her interest in languages being translated into her writing, her interest in the humanities and writing, and specifically interest in food. And so that's not something that you see a lot, students really honing in on one particular topic that's exciting to them. She also was the Vietnamese American Youth Ambassador to France. Well, that's really interesting. So she has activities that she's doing inside the school, that she's doing on her own, and that she's doing outside of school. So that's showing me that she is she's not limiting herself to just what's available in her school. She's really taking advantage of opportunities that are either available to her or that she wants to create because she is so compelled to do so. In the summers, after 10th, she interned at the French consulate office and wrote short stories. And after 11th, she took cooking classes in France and traveled around Europe. So this is actually an extraordinarily interesting sort of profile of a student. I love that I can really concretely think about what she's all about. I remember her for languages, I remember her for food, I remember her for her writing. Those three themes really consistently emerge throughout her application, so as far as I can tell here. I would expect that her teachers would be writing about this. They would be telling me about how charismatic she is and enthusiastic she is about these things, and that would really help me understand how genuine this passion is, because this is not a typical path to take. And it's not that every student should take this particular path, but for this student it's very, very interesting. So I'm on the fence about whether this is quite enough for me to admit this student, because this is a really, really neat profile. I could imagine her on a campus living in the university's French house. I could imagine her starting an eating or cooking club. I could imagine her really having an interesting impact and involvement on her schools, in her school's community. And that is something that I'm thinking about. I want to know what kind of community member she's going to be, what kind of roommate she's going to be, what kind of life and excitement she's going to bring to campus. So this really is where my biggest hesitation would be. Depending on what the other applicants from this school looked like, this could be actually a more competitive student. Some things I would consider is, if this student is living in a rural part of the country, if she's particularly low income, there might be other reasons why she's had trouble with testing or things like that. Top 15%, if it's a very large public school, might not be too much of a deterrent given how compelling these other factors are. So those are all things that I'd be thinking about. It's entirely possible that I would admit this student. She also writes her own blog about food. Well, that's interesting, which she translates